Hello, welcome to the latest episode of Women in STEM. And today I'll be doing a solo episode and we'll be discussing things to do before you graduate. So since I've graduated, I've had a lot of people who are still students ask me about different ways that they can improve their chances of getting a job, or different ways in which they can be more proactive so that they can prepare themselves for what's going to come after graduation. So I've come up with a few different ways in which you can best utilize your time before you graduate. And some of the things I did, and then some of the things I didn't do. So hopefully this can help inspire you and give you the best guidance on some of the things that you should consider. So number one, I would say start applying for jobs. This was something that I think I did a little bit of, but not a lot of. And really it was because I was very overwhelmed with the amount of deadlines that I had. And so I started more so applying for jobs afterwards. But if you do plan out your time very well, you can still like apply for jobs. And I know a couple of my friends who were applying for jobs before they graduated and were going through the whole interview process. And therefore, like even before they had graduated, they had actually secured a job. So you can only imagine like how much more easier their summer was because they already had a job and they already had, something prepared for them. So if you do have more time on your side and you have like the energy to do so, I would definitely recommend applying for jobs before graduation. I would also say to make sure that before you graduate, before you leave your uni, make sure that your uni details are up to date. So this is like, most people, once they finish at uni, they tend to go back and live with their parents. So, or maybe you might be planning on moving to somewhere else. Wherever it is, try to make sure that your details are up to date, because the address that you put down will, or email address, will be the one that your university is going to be using to contact you with regards to the graduation ceremony and with regards to any other details that you might not be aware of because you have not graduated before. So once I had graduated, I received a lot of like emails and magazines from my university. And luckily, my primary address, which was my family house, hadn't changed. So I was able to receive all of that, and my email address also hadn't changed. So just make sure that your details are up to date. I would also recommend attending career fairs. Pretty much every single university has a career fair, and I always really enjoyed going to career fairs. You get a bunch of freebies, as well as it gives you the opportunity to see what's actually on the market, what type of jobs are being advertised, get to firsthand talk to the people that actually work for the company. And it really helped me have an idea of what type of career path I would be interested in, what companies recruit, as well as give me an understanding of their schedule. So usually companies have a certain timeline for graduates, which is one of the reasons why I said that it's better to apply for jobs before graduation, because they usually tend to look for the intake for their graduates during the time of like, I want to say like January to like April time. And then by June to July time, they would have already picked the candidates. Sometimes it's not always like that exact amount of time. With my job, I would say that I got intake for the next graduate year, if that makes sense. So I graduated, or should I say I finished uni around like July, August time. But then I did get an extension, so it went on until November time. And then I didn't start applying for jobs until like January, February time for my once I had finished my master's. So if that makes sense, I was being more so intaked with the next year, but it didn't really matter in the end. Like, I got the job, and I think most of the people that I got the job with finished in the same year as me as well. So that is something to take into consideration. I'll definitely recommend going to job fairs. You'll even find out about jobs that are in different countries. So if you're somebody who wants to go and work abroad, they have those opportunities, as well as, you know, there's the army there. There are people who are offering internships. Maybe if you want to go into teaching, there's a plethora of different career choices that are available. So that is definitely something that I would recommend going to. And another thing that I would recommend is taking advantage of your career services. So your career advisor services, I don't know, different universities, they might call it different things. But before I left, before I graduated, I made sure that my CV was in order, because once you graduate, you're not going to have the same amount of access. And so what I would do, I would go to the career service and I was going to see them in person. And for free, they will look at your CV, they will analyze it, they'll tell you what you've done wrong, what you can improve on, what you've done right. So before I had even graduated, my CV was in really good condition. But with a lot of tech jobs, there is a lot of interview rounds. So that's the reason why I prefer to do it after graduating, because I didn't want to have so much stress on myself. But yeah, I'll definitely make sure that you have your CV, have it intact, have it up to date. Go to the career services, ask them what they think that you should improve on, even ask them what type of jobs that they know are available, because they are also very knowledgeable in that. So that is something that I would definitely recommend taking advantage of. Another thing that I would recommend that is less, I would say, career related, but it is also very important. Before you graduate, you're usually going through, having different exams, you have deadlines, you're under a lot of stress, you have presentations, but make sure to make time for your friends, especially your university friends, because in a lot of the cases, once you've graduated, a lot of your university friends will start to go off in their own path. Some of them, the international students, will go back to their own country. And so you're not going to see them as frequently as you used to. So I would definitely recommend that you make sure you take the time to see your friends, even if you're in your busy schedule. Try to have a coffee, go to a cafe with them, on one of the days when none of you have a deadline, or right before the rush of deadlines, go to have a picnic. There's a bunch of free things that you can do that are, cost effective. Cook dinner for all together and split the cost. But I would definitely recommend spending time with your friends. This is not only good for connecting and maintaining that relationship, but it's also good for your mental health, because in this experience of, all the stress that you're going through, you're definitely not in this alone. And another thing that I would recommend is make a timetable. It seems quite obvious, but the time that you have from 2 months before your exams to when your exams come, it literally goes like that. It goes by so quickly that if you don't manage your time carefully, and if you don't actually sit down and try to contemplate, when my exams are, how am I best going to study for them beforehand, you're really going to struggle. And even at university, I think there was some sort of timetable management seminars that they had running during the time of exam season. So right before like exams or university course deadlines. There's a bunch of different courses and seminars and presentations universities will actually run to try to help prepare you for that. So I think I did go to one about timetable and procrastination, and I really tried to make sure to put the time aside to give myself enough time before each one of the exams, so that I could actually, prepare myself as much as possible. So just try to look out for that. Remember that your university is aware of what you're going through, and therefore they do put a lot of effort and time into making sure that there are resources available for you. But if you're not aware of them, then you're not going to be able to take advantage of them. So try to be on the lookout for that. As well as, before I graduated, I was a part of a lot of different societies. And so those societies would have these little get-togethers, which was also really great, as well as I joined the Mental Health Wellbeing Society, and we would do like meditations. And this was great because I would basically spend all day in the library. So having that session that I would go to for meditation and having my, having meditation with a group of people was really nice, as well as I knew a lot of them were also stressed out. So it was a really great way of bringing down my anxiety and, my stress level. So I would really recommend looking into mental health. A lot of people tend to freak out around exam time, deadline time, but you really have to try to figure out what works best for you. Maybe meditation isn't for you, but I'm sure there's lots of different other ways that you can alleviate your stress in a healthy way. Some people even go to the gym a lot. That was something also that I did, and that also really helped. And I would also say, like, try to plan something that you can have to look forward to after you finish uni. And so for me and my friends, we booked a holiday, and that was really something nice to look forward to. It was my first time going on holiday with my uni friends, and it was my first time going on holiday with like a group of friends. And it was a really nice experience that I got to share with them, especially as, like I said, once you graduate, you tend to all go your separate ways. And of course, you're going to have, most of my friends were not on the same course as me or even in the same faculty as me. So, we were not even really going to see each other on graduation. So planning on a holiday with your friends for once you finish university, as well as planning maybe to go to a nice festival, or just having something that you're going to do as a group that you're going to look forward to, so you can actually celebrate what you've achieved. And those are my tips that I've given today. I kind of lost count of how many that I gave, but hopefully this can give you a bit of insight of things to do before you graduate, and, kind of give you some motivation. And I really wish you all the best of luck during your time before you graduate. And I know that you can do this. And if you are struggling, there is a lot of support available at your university. I would recommend speaking to the people at your uni and try to find out what resources are available and how best to utilize them. So thank you for listening to the Women in STEM podcast. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram or on Twitter at Kelly_engineer. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you've really enjoyed this episode. Bye.